I wanted to talk about being weird, being different, feeling odd, feeling other. This is a feeling that I'm no stranger to. This is something I've experienced for as long as I can remember. Um, my memory goes back to primary school where I just felt like there was something deeply wrong with me, where I didn't belong anywhere, I didn't fit anywhere. Especially in school, I felt like everything about me was just wrong. Like everyone else seemed to understand things that didn't make sense to me, and had friends that I always felt on the outside of, no matter what. And that feeling is something that I have learned to embrace more, and I've learned to hold in a way that's less consuming, but it's something that has followed me into adulthood, and I presume will probably follow me for my whole life. While it has gotten easier to manage, there is something about it that I think I've painted as a bad thing, you know? Because I've built it up in my head as this thing that I wished wasn't true since I was a kid. I think my perception of being different and weird and whatever has painted it as this bad thing, you know? When in reality, I was just sitting at my auntie's house reading. I'm reading A Life Impossible or The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. I've just been reading it really quick because I'm just enjoying it so much. And I was sitting there and I was just like thinking about how my sensitivity and my big reactions to things that other people don't seem to even react to at all, or in a very minor way, how much I care about the things I care about, and I get so passionate and so emotional about certain things that other people just seem to brush off as nothing. And I've always felt like that was a design flaw within me. Like it meant that I was too sensitive and I should be like everyone else. I always felt like, yeah, that was something deeply wrong with me. And today, for the first time really, I actually realised that I don't see it that way anymore. I think it was a combination of a conversation I had with a friend, and also the book I've been reading, and just time to myself. And I kind of realised that my sensitivity feels like a gift, because I can't turn away from the things that I believe are wrong in the world. And I know there's definitely been times where I wished that I could have a break from caring so much. Because obviously to care so much about everything all the time can leave you extremely drained and burnt out, and it makes my nervous system go crazy. But would I rather the flip of that, which would be to not feel anything at all and to not care at all, and to just live a life that isn't full of such deep feeling. And I guess if you asked me on the right day and I was just not really being completely truthful and I was really struggling, I would say, yeah, please take all this pain away, please, because I can't handle it. But the reality is I can handle it, because I've been handling it since I was a little girl. I've been handling it since I was in the playground. I've been handling it even when I was alone, you know, at school or whatever, and I felt like a literal alien. I was handling it. So if I could handle it back then when I was a young child, I can handle it now at my age. And it's not about age. Age doesn't necessarily make it easier, because there's more things that pop up as we grow up. But I think that I've been presented with such sensitivity, even though it really does feel sometimes like I can't handle it, and I'm overwhelmed by life in general, and I swear that it's too much. In the moment, I swear it's too much. I swear I'm going to explode, and like my insides from hurting so much are just going to burst out of my body because they can't hold that pain anymore. It's the sort of pain that you can't explain to someone. Either they look at you and they understand it because they've been there too, or you can't explain. You can try it with words, you really can. You know, I could say, it feels like someone's got a wine corkscrew in my heart and they're just jamming it and turning it and turning it. And at the same time, there's a hand punching me in the stomach as hard as it can. And someone stood on my chest and it's an elephant. And at the same time, my brain is full of like flies and they're all hitting the insides of my head and they're all saying things that are like, all my worries and my thoughts and all the problems with the world, they're all saying it at once. And I mean, that's the closest I think I can get to explaining it. And on other days, it feels like the sadness and the heaviness is like a numbness. It's a numbness that you can still feel, which is kind of contradictory, but we as humans love to contradict ourselves. I think the pain... I think when you've hurt for so long and you get used to that hurting and it's been hours and you've cried the most you feel like you've ever cried in your life, it's almost like it turns into a numbness. You can still feel the elephant stood on your chest, but you're used to it now and you've almost found a comfort within that sadness and within that pain, that it just becomes normal, like the new normal for a little while. And maybe I'm crazy for not wanting to lose that, you know, to not let go of that, because oh my goodness, like I said, at the time it feels like I'm not going to make it through that. At the time it feels like this is it. I know I've said it before, but no, this is really it. I can't cope. Somehow I always make it through, and I still don't know how. I think it must be that I don't know how strong I am and I don't know how much pain I can take, because I keep experiencing the most pain, and every time I'm like, this is the one that's gonna be too much for me. And then I just wake up again and I'm still here. And I think as much as my sensitivity can bring so much pain, my sensitivity is the same thing that makes me see flowers as the most profound, incredible things ever. Like, I can see one on the street and I feel it. I feel its beauty radiating from it. My sensitivity is the same thing. Like in the book that I'm reading, she tastes orange juice after waking up, you know, and being changed. And the orange juice is like an experience. And I relate so much to that. When I drink orange juice, it's like the most incredible thing. It takes me over, that moment. When I see a happy couple or a cute kid, or I hear a song, I don't just hear it and think, wow, this is a really nice song, let me save that. I experience it. I live within the song when I hear it. The song becomes me for a period of time. Me and the song are not two separate things. We become each other. And it's a sort of sensitivity that has such polar opposites, and with one you also get the other. And I don't want to take, as much as on those nights or those days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to tap out, I need to tap out, I don't want to lose the flowers, I don't want to lose the music, I don't want to lose orange juice and seeing beautiful couples and cute kids and hugging people I love. That feels like the most immense joy ever. Like, it's just interesting. And these things that I'm talking about are a part of the thing that makes me quote unquote weird, because a lot of people don't relate to the experiences that I have with intense emotion. At least not on such a regular basis, at least not so consistently. Like, I know people have periods where they feel down for a while and then they're better, and something happens that makes them feel down for a while. And I have that too. Sometimes something happens and that'll affect me. But I get down just by waking up. and feeling everything going on in the world. Even though I don't watch the news, I hardly use Instagram, hardly. Like I'm talking, I don't have it on my phone. Every now and again I'll look at it on my laptop or on my phone for 15-20 minutes and then delete it. That's like once a week, once every 2 weeks I'll have a quick little look. I don't see any news, any horror stories. Like I have, obviously, because some of them are unavoidable and some, like a friend will share them, but compared to the mass scale that a lot of people consume that sort of content, I really don't. And that reason isn't me turning away from the reality of what's going on. The reason is I'm already so deeply aware of the reality of what's going on. I don't even need to know the specifics, okay? It's like I feel it from the moment I wake up. So the sadness I feel, a lot of it isn't even mine. Like, as in, it's not because of an event that's occurred in the world or in my life. It's not because of that. It's something like outside of me, if you know. But the reason I feel it is because I know that there's no disconnection between me and what's outside of me. And when I see an animal suffering and I see the look in their eyes, when I go past a farm and I know the reality of what goes on in there, and when I see animals and I hear about an animal that's passed away, my reaction isn't, oh my gosh, that's really sad, and blah, blah, blah. My reaction is a visceral, gut-wrenching pain because that's just how I am. And like I was saying, I always felt like that was so deeply wrong with me, and that, oh my gosh, I need to go on medication and all of these things to numb myself, and I need to just numb myself out, I need to just whatever. And now I realise that couldn't be further from the truth. See, that only applies if I'm not strong enough to handle this. But the reality is, as much as I'm still adjusting to this fact, I am strong enough to handle it, because these things have been presented to me because of that. It can feel like we're so weak and we're so fragile and we're so delicate and incapable of dealing with pain when we hurt so much because of things. But the hurting and allowing ourselves to hurt is actually the opposite of being weak. Numbing is a weaker thing to do, and there's definitely times where I do that, oh my goodness, and there's times where I think that's just sometimes the better thing to do. Sometimes you can't face things in the moment and maybe just have a little numb out. But for me, I know that the very fact that I keep going in spite of everything going on, despite everything going on. And I keep going and I keep waking up, and sometimes I crash the fuck out really bad. And then I keep going and just keep going and keep going. And I think that I need to give myself a little bit more credit, and you probably should too. If you're someone who's found this video, you potentially relate to some of what I'm saying. I think the most amazing thing you can do to make the world a better place is to be so outrageously yourself, to the point where it almost scares you a bit. Like, where you're like, this is too vulnerable, this is too weird, no one's going to understand. If that's your reaction, then that's an even bigger sign you need to be doing it. Because if you get it, and you need this thing to exist, and you feel these things, other people do too. They might not be your family, they might not be your friends, they might not be the people in your town, the closest people to you, but someone else is feeling these things. And the reason that we've been given these words, these thoughts, these stories is to share them. A long time ago, people would sit in circles and share stories. You know what I mean? That was a thing. Instead of posting our dinner on Instagram or whatever we do on Instagram, we would gather and we would share stories. And some of them were crazy. Some of them were ghost stories. Some of them were ancestral stories passed down. And some of them were just real things that happen in our lives. And I really want us to not be so scared of being weird, because I was watching a video And this girl said something, I've forgotten whose video it was, but she said something along the lines of her favourite artists and stuff. You know, if you think of the people that you look up to the most or love the most or whatever, they are the most outrageous, bold versions of themselves. You know what I mean? They are so unapologetically them. And to tell this to a kid, some kids would maybe respond with, yeah, I'll be me, I'll wear the crazy clothes or whatever. A lot of kids just want to fit in, and a lot of adults just want to fit in, and that is so okay, because it just is in our programming to want to belong, and we are safer in groups, you know. It's how we're wired. But the most amazing change in culture, in history, in life comes from people who go against the grain and, if anything, cut themselves out of the grain. Do you know what I mean? And just sit with themselves alone long enough away from external influences to figure out, beneath everything they've been told that they have to be, who are they really? Beneath the conditioning. And this takes time, and there's layers and layers and layers and layers of it. And it's not something that you want to even rush. There's no rush. It really is a process of peeling back everything you've been told you are, everything you've been told you should be, everything you've been told that you have to become in order to be worthy. You have to peel all of this back in order to find out who you really are under there. And when you find out who you really are under there, it's a shiny gemstone. I can just see it. I'm not fully there yet. I've been peeling and peeling and peeling and peeling and peeling, and I will continue to for the rest of my life. But I've forgotten which Studio Ghibli film it is. Potentially Whisper of the Heart. I think it's Whisper of the Heart. And she's given this geode. The girl is given this geode by the clockmaker who runs the antique shop. And, or is it the Cat Returns? No, Whisper of the Heart. And this geode, it's like, it's a rock, you know, and there's tiny little speckles deep inside of it because it's unpolished. Like her story that she's writing in the film, it's unpolished, it's raw, and at first sight it doesn't look crazy. It just looks like a rock with something a little bit shiny there. But when you take the time to actually look and you shine a light on it and you take that time, you can see that there are precious gems inside. And just like her story, just like us, just like our art, our creations, everything, we will spend a lifetime polishing the rock of our lives, of our existence. And that's not because we're imperfect and we need to be polished. It's not in that sense. It's in the sense that to get to the core of who we really are, we have to remove everything that we are not. And that's something that takes a lifetime, but we don't have to wait a whole lifetime to begin the process and to start seeing beautiful results, and to allow yourself to be you, to be really, really you. On this time that you are here, in this body, and the body that we're often so horrible to as well. First, just give some love to your body, you know, because, oh my goodness, it carries us through without us even asking, keeps us breathing without us even asking. So give some thanks to your body. But while we're here, what a shame it would be to be anything other than truly, truly ourselves. That's my biggest wish for everyone, is to be so truly yourself that you realise everything you've longed for, you've always had. The thing we run from, the thing we run to. It's hilarious because I think we have to go through that pattern of searching and running from and working hard to try and get somewhere. But in the end, we end up back with ourselves. And I think that's the best, most rich place that we could be. Sending you love. Bye.